welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack complex topics and hopefully give you some really useful insights.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're tackling something that pops up a lot, even if you follow AI closely. AI hallucinations. It's a term you hear, but what does it really mean?
Right.
Our mission for this deep dive is not just to define them. We want to get under the hood a bit. Explore why they happen, and maybe most importantly, why they can be so darn hard for us, for you, the user, to actually spot.
Yeah, that detection part is key.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut to really getting a handle on a pretty crucial part of using AI today. Hopefully you'll feel more informed and maybe a bit more prepared.
Sounds good.
So let's start there. AI hallucination. It sounds almost sci-fi, doesn't it?
It does have that ring to it.
But practically speaking, what are we talking about? What's the core idea?
It's a great question because, yeah, the term is metaphorical. It's not just like a simple error or a bug. An AI hallucination at its heart is when the AI basically fabricates information and makes stuff up.
Yeah.
But crucially, it presents this made-up stuff really confidently, like it's a known fact.
Confidently wrong, you mean?
Exactly. Confidently and convincingly wrong. There are maybe three key things to look for. First, you get made-up facts, just false information presented as true.
Okay, false facts.
Second, it can invent fictional details, maybe data points, specific events, things that just never happened. It conjures them up.
Wow.
And the third piece, which is maybe the trickiest part, is that it all sounds real. It's plausible, it fits the context, it seems believable, it's woven in quite seamlessly.
Right? It's that seamlessness, that deceptive quality that makes it such a big deal, isn't it? It's not just getting a date wrong. It's creating a whole narrative or a fact that sounds completely plausible, so you might just take it on board without, a second thought.
That's the danger. It bypasses our usual skepticism sometimes.
So, okay, if it's that sophisticated, why does it happen? Is it just random glitches, or is there something more fundamental going on? It's not like it's trying to imagine things, right?
No, it's not imagination in the human sense. It boils down to how these AI models learn and process information. There are really three big interconnected reasons.
Okay, let's break those down.
First one is messy data. Think about the enormous amounts of text and information these AIs learn from. If that data is inconsistent, inaccurate, poorly organized, or just plain messy.
Which a lot of internet data probably is.
Exactly. Then the AI can learn incorrect associations or try to fill in gaps based on flawed patterns it picked up from that messy data.
Okay, so messy input can lead to messy or hallucinated output. Makes sense. What's number two?
Number two is false connections. The AI, in processing all this data, might draw links between bits of information that aren't actually related in reality. It sees a correlation, perhaps, where there's no real causation or connection.
Ah, okay. So it's connecting dots that shouldn't be connected.
Precisely. And the third cause is related. Pattern errors. The AI is fundamentally a pattern matching machine. Sometimes it identifies patterns incorrectly, or it overgeneralizes from incomplete data, or it just gets the pattern wrong. There's a good analogy sometimes used. It's a bit like how we humans sometimes see shapes in clouds, right?
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Like seeing a dragon or a face.
Exactly. The shape isn't really there, but our brain finds a pattern. The AI does something similar. It sees connections or patterns in the data that aren't truly there, but then it presents them as if they are concrete facts.
That cloud analogy really clicks. It makes it less like the AI is lying and more like it's misinterpreting, but doing so with total conviction.
That's a very good way to put it. It's presenting its interpretation of a pattern, its best guess based on flawed data or faulty connections, but with this air of absolute certainty.
So it's not necessarily bad AI design, but maybe an inherent challenge based on the data and how pattern recognition works at such a huge scale.
It's definitely a fundamental challenge in the current way these large language models are built and trained. Imperfect data, imperfect pattern finding.
Which leads us right to the really critical question for you, the listener. Okay, they sound real. They happen because of data and patterns. But why are they so sneaky? Why are they so hard for us to catch?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting because it taps right into our own psychology, how we trust and process information. There are probably four main reasons they're so slippery.
All right, let's hear them.
First, the authoritative tone. AI often communicates very confidently, very formally sometimes. It doesn't usually hedge or say, I think, or maybe. It just states things.
Right. It sounds like an expert, even when it's making things up.
Exactly. And that tone makes us less likely to question it. Second, it often uses specific statistics.
Numbers. Numbers always sound convincing.
They do, even if the AI says something like 87.3% of studies show, and that number is completely fabricated, the specificity gives it an air of credibility. We tend to trust precise figures.
Okay, so authoritative tone, specific, even if fake stats.
Yeah.
What else?
Third, it can generate incredibly detailed fake examples. It doesn't just make a claim. It might invent a whole scenario, a case study, a detailed anecdote that seems to perfectly illustrate its point.
Wow, so it builds a convincing but fictional world around its false claim.
Precisely. These elaborate details make the whole thing seem much more plausible and researched. And the fourth reason, maybe the biggest, is just basic human trust.
How so?
Well, we're sort of wired to believe information that's presented clearly and convincingly, especially if we perceive the source as knowledgeable or intelligent, which we often do with AI.
So our own tendencies work against us here.
They really can. And what's fascinating, tying back to the stats and examples, is that research suggests the more specific and detailed the information is, the more likely we are to believe it.
Even if those details are the very things being fabricated.
Exactly. It's a bit of a paradox.
Yeah.
The AI uses the techniques of credible communication, specificity, detail, confidence, regardless of whether the underlying information is true or false.
That really highlights the challenge for everyone using these tools. You can't just rely on how something sounds. The specific statistic, the detailed example, those could be red flags, not proof points.
It means you need that extra layer of critical thinking. Always. You have to ask, okay, that sounds convincing, but where does it actually come from? Can I verify this?
Absolutely. It puts the onus back on us to be, well, critical consumers of this AI-generated content, even maybe especially when it sounds spot on. Okay, so let's recap where we've been in this deep dive. We started with AI hallucinations, understanding they're not just errors, but confident fabrications, made up facts, fictional details, but sounding incredibly real.
Right, that convincing aspect is key.
Then we looked under the hood at why they happen. It's not imagination. It's rooted in things like messy training data, the AI making false connections between ideas, and errors in pattern recognition.
Like seeing those shapes in the clouds.
Exactly, that cloud analogy. And finally, we tackled why they're so tricky to spot that authoritative tone, the use of specific but potentially fake statistics, those detailed examples, and just our natural human inclination to trust a confident source.
All those factors combined make them quite insidious.
So, as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for our listener to chew on.
Yeah, maybe just this. As you go through your day, think about how this understanding, knowing about messy data, false connections, authoritative tones, might change how you look at information, not just from AI,
Good point.
but from any source. How do you evaluate what sounds convincing? Does knowing how easily detailed falsehoods can be constructed make you question things a bit more? It's a skill that goes way beyond just interacting with chatbots.
A critical lens for the information age, really. Excellent thought to end on. Thanks for breaking that all down.
My pleasure.